see the whole world shaking, and you feel your heart is breaking. Take my hand, no hesitating. Oh, when you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feel this, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feel this, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. I'm actually pre-recording this tonight. It's not exactly 7 p.m. It's a little bit after 5. My son and I are going to VCW Championship Wrestling tonight. And this belt here was actually given to me by one of my clients who bought a home through me. He actually bought the home through me sight unseen. He was still, I think he was in Hawaii. This going back about 12, 13 years. And you can see the house, but I took 1,000 photos of it and videos, and he bought it unseen. And we're actually meeting tonight to see wrestling. So you better be there. So anyway, so like I said, when this goes on at 7, it will be pre-recorded. I heard that it's good to make that announcement because sometimes, I don't know, people think it's live and it's not, and there's issues. So anyway, well, it's February 5th. It's February already. I'm Chris Gargiulo. I'm an associate broker for eXp Realty. This is my live stream podcast. I'm calling that live stream and podcast because you can see me live. The recording will be up on my blog, realestatewithmrg.blog. But what I'm also doing, I'm uploading them to Spotify, to Google Podcasts, and I'm working on getting it sent to iTunes. So you could hear me, you could watch me, or if you're working out at the gym, you're jogging, you want to listen to me, hopefully I have good words for you when it comes to real estate transactions. And I'll just be like everywhere, through your earphones, watching me. And so anyway, we have a lot to talk about tonight. I'm actually bringing in kind of two topics. One, the importance of the home inspection, and because I always get, and these especially first-time home buyers, and they see these shows on Homes and Gardens, and these different networks, and it seems that it's very easy to buy either a foreclosed home or an older home. Like I had one of my clients that sent me a home that was just basically a shell and wanted to know how he would go about buying it, and he could not buy it. I spoke to one of my loan officers, and they could not buy it with a mortgage because when you buy a house with a mortgage, you have to be ready to move in like at closing. And if you can't move in at closing, you do a renovation loan, and it's usually something that could be repaired in 2 to 3 weeks, not a length of time. And he wanted to do the repairs on his own, so it would have to be purchased maybe with a personal loan, but definitely cash would be best. So a lot of young first-time home buyers have all these wonderful ideas out there, and that's fine. I'm not knocking it, but I just want you to know what's involved with buying an older house or a house that is definitely distressed and great need of repair. Okay, and you might have to get special type of financing on that. So we're going to talk about that today, and let's me do my little intro. Okay, so we're going to talk about home inspections today, and I'm going to give a little background of what's going on with today's market. Now, since we have limited inventory, excuse me, I'm sorry. Since we have, this is live. Well, it's not TV, but it's. Since we have limited inventory and competition, we might have 2 or 3 offers for one property. Um, what the people are doing now, we always recommend the home inspection, and you want to find out the condition of the house to see if there's any issues with it. But what a lot of people are doing now is saying, I'm only going to do it for informational purposes, meaning it's going to help me decide whether or not I'm going to continue to purchase the home or ask for a release and get my earnest money deposit back. All right. Here it's usually around 500, could be up to 1,000, and so forth. Okay. Prior to the pandemic, where it wasn't, we had a good amount of inventory and there wasn't this fierce competition, you would have the home inspection, and then you say, well, I would like to sell it to make these repairs. I'm going to ask the seller if he or she will make these repairs that the home inspector found to be issues. And I might take care of some. I don't want to bother them with every little detail. But these issues, let me see if they could do with that. And then we type up what's called a PCRA, a property inspection contingency removal addendum. And we see if the seller will make those repairs. Now, they may make some, they may cross off some. And it's like the same situation again where we negotiate as we did for the contract. And they say, well, I'll do this, but can't you just do this one thing? And then the buyer might say, okay, yeah, I could do that. And we come to a compromise when we're in mutual agreement with what repairs will be done. That's signed, it's accepted. And now we head straight to closing. Usually at that point, the loan officer, the mortgage loan officer, will order the appraisal, and we just go towards closing. So I'm actually, for my new home buyers out there listening, I'm bringing in a lot of terms beforehand, and I actually have on my blog on the resource materials. Let me see if I have the caption up here. I know I'm jumping a little bit ahead. I don't feel like typing up right now. Okay, here it is. So real estate with Mr. G.blog/resource-materials. And there you will see I put up there my 10 steps in the home buying process. And you could go to there, you could download it. Okay, it's a PDF file, there's no cost. And that should be helpful for you to get an idea what's out there. So if you're brand new and I'm bringing in these words now, like appraisal, and heading to closing, you might get a little confusing, but that guide will help you. But nonetheless, that's how we worked it before the crazy market that we have now. So now, and by the way, for a while, when we were in this pandemic and people properties, I mean, it's calmed down a bit. It's not 100% where you just have like one person per house, but you're not getting like 6 or 7 offers now. Maybe 2 to 3. Okay, so a lot of buyers were foregoing the home inspection, because you see, the home inspection and it could bring, I don't want to say problems, but if the seller just wants to sell the house and now they're going to get a whole list of repair requests from the buyer, they don't want to hassle with that. Now, a lot of people say, well, I'll even forego that. So once we ratify the contract, that's it. There's no contingencies on it. There's no way that I could ask to be released from the contract. I'm not. I could be released because I can't get the financing, but I can't say, well, you're not going to fix this problem with the house. I'm asking to be released. So if that contingency, that home inspection contingency, is not on the contract, then it's more of a smoother transaction. But what happens then, because not everybody is on the up and up, there might be issues with the house that the seller is not discussing or bringing forth. And you might end up with a big problem with the house. And it might even be something that there may or may not be hiding, but it could be an issue that the inspector will find and saying, you're going to have a big bill. It could be that the roof is at the end of its life expectancy. The roof is bad. The HVAC system is bad. It could have been working great for the homeowners, but it could be at a point where, it's going on 20 years now. It's going to start breaking down. So it's important to get that home inspection, whether or not the seller is going to make repairs. So this way, you know what you're getting into. And with the pandemic, and I really believe we're getting out of it now. Even though we have a lot of hospitalizations, they're beginning to come down. This variant of the COVID-19, it seems to be people are able to catch it, but it doesn't seem to be as severe. As long, and as I say in all my podcasts, the importance of getting vaccinated. As long as you're vaccinated, and you might just get a bad cold or whatever, but the people who are not vaccinated are having big issues. But anyway, the warmer weather is going to be coming. People will be, instead of hanging out in clubs and bars after work, they'll be going to the beach, to the parks, getting fresh air, and that seems to make things better. Okay, so I think, with fingers crossed and praying to the Almighty, that we're coming out of this pandemic now. All right. So uh, let's play forward. Let's keep it going. Okay. Because we want to have a nice, strong economy. We want to have plenty of homes on the market for buyers to choose new homes. Okay. And we need to have this pandemic, COVID-19, Omicron, Delta. Let's get it behind us. So anyway, I know I went a little bit off track with that, but so we're going to see that word. I actually put it in my preview. Informational purposes. So you do it for that. Okay. So the importance is to get that home inspection. That's what's most important. Don't just say, "Well, I'll take care of the issues," or I'll let my father look at the house. He's pretty much he could be a great handyman, but he might not know anything about electricity. He may not know, or she, okay, I want to make this he or she, if mom is doing it, may not know anything about HVAC systems, and you really want a professional to look at it. It's usually the cost of it is around $350, and you say, "Well, maybe I could get away from not paying it." It's just an expense that you have to do so you have peace of mind when you purchase a house. So, okay, let's show the graphic now on the home inspection. And here I am to the side. I'm going to get rid of my caption here. We're going to hide this, right? That's going to go away. I'm going to take a little sip here. Nice cold water. It's really not water. It's like a bubbly drink, but it's non-alcoholic. Okay, I couldn't do this. It's salsa water with pomegranate or whatever. Okay, so your home inspection matters. Buying a home and wondering if any inspection is really necessary. The latest data from the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, shows 90% of buyers are waiving their home inspection in today's market. Here's why you don't want to make that same risky decision. So what does the inspection does? Home inspections assess the condition of a home and what home inspectors look for. While it varies by state, here are some things inspectors generally look for in existing homes. Plumbing or electrical issues, okay. They will look at your electrical box and make sure that it's wired correctly, that there's no double tapping there. They will look at the pipes that they're able to see and see if there's any leaks. If you have a crawl space, they could go underneath and look at the plumbing underneath the house. If it's a slab, well, then they can't do that. They will go all on top of the roof and look at the roof condition, give you an idea of the age of the roof, how long it may have before it really starts deteriorating. They will look at a lot. This is big too. Along the soffits and the facet, they will look for exterior rot or decay. Many times, an appraiser would pick that up too, as opposed to the home inspector. Here's another big one: HVAC and heating system problems. Okay. These are the areas where you run into a lot of money. If you have to replace the HVAC system, there's usually two parts. There's the air handler and then the heat pump. So if it's here in this photo here, they're showing the heat pumps out here. There's actually two here. So it means that it's a dual air zone, dual temperature zone. So there'll be a thermostat for the first floor and the thermostats for the second floor, which is nice if you have a bigger house. And a lot of times the heat rises, so the second floor will be hotter than the first floor. Okay, so it'll be nice if you could change the temperature on each floor. So these are things too that if they're at the point of them breaking down, that could be a significant cost to you. All right. A heat pump by itself could be $5,000. If you have to get the whole system to get the air handler and the heat pump, it could, you're looking at maybe 15,000 then. And don't quote me on this. I know we for one of my properties that I listed, we were looking at prices of heat pumps, and they were running around 5,000. They actually might be a little bit higher now because of the supply issues we have right now. Roof, that could run from 5,000 to 10,000 again. How much roof you have, all right, and these are big issues. So you want to make sure you know the condition before you move in. If the inspector says, well, there's another good 10 years on this roof, then that's not something you have to pay out right now. But if you look at the heat pump, he goes, well, this is really on its last legs. And if you want to continue, and if you have an extra 5,000 stacked away to replace it in the near future, then you have to make that decision on your own. But what's most important is that you know the condition of the property. So of course I can say why it matters, and you're making okay, it's going to mess it up. I should have done this. Okay, let me see if I could take that out. All right, I'm not going to. Don't worry about it. Why it matters. You're making a significant purchase when you buy a home. Getting an inspection ensures you have what condition it's in to avoid costly surprises down the road. Okay, now this leads me to my next topic, which is kind of tied in. Why is it doing that? Why did it do that? Okay. I don't want to share this. It's okay. Because again, and I always have this with young, well, they don't necessarily have to be young, but first time home buyers. And they're looking at every possible way to become a homeowner. And they see, the shows on cable TV, and it seems so easy to buy a home that has to be restored, or a foreclosure that has items that have to be fixed. Now, let me tell you something about foreclosures, is that you have to take it case by case. Sometimes a bank will, let's close this for a second. Sometimes a bank will take a property and do some work on it so they could get a little bit more value out of it. And the buyer who comes in could buy it with a regular FHA loan, a Fannie Mae loan, or the military VA loan. If the appraiser goes in there and they say that the house is really not ready to be lived in, it has no heat, let's say the HVAC system is not working, the electricity is very faulty, there could be structural issues too. Not always the foundation, but with some foreclosures I've seen, people have gotten upset. They ripped out wiring in the walls. They ripped out chandeliers, and they said, "Well, it's not moving ready," so they can go with a regular straight VA FHA loan. Now, there are versions of it, like the FHA has a renovation loan, but it may come at a higher rate because it's a little bit more risky, and there's a lot more involved with that. Okay, because they have to assure with these type of loans that at one point in the very near future you can live in there safely. So let's say the HVAC system is definitely gone, it's broken. A lot of times when the house is vacant for a while, unscrupulous people go in, they'll steal the heat pump, or they'll steal the copper inside of it. Now it's no longer working. That has to be replaced. So you purchase a house, but when you do, you get estimates. So let's say it's the HVAC system, to keep it simple. And some banks may ask for 3 estimates on it. And they go with the best, I guess the most cost effective. So you submit 3, and then they'll approve 1 and say, okay, let's say it's going to be $15,000 to fix the HVAC system. Now, let's say the house, the ratified contract price is 200,000. You're actually getting a loan then for 215,000. Okay. As for the agents on the deal, the buyer's agent and the seller's agent, our commission will be based on the 200,000, not the 215,000. The 15,000 is what you're paying for repairs, and then once you take ownership of it, the contractors go in there and they fix it. They submit their invoices to escrow, most of the times held by the title company, and then the money's released, and then you could go in and live in your new home. All right. That's if like just one thing is gone. Someone bought a house from me, and there were 3 different contractors that had to go in there. One had to be for electricity, one for the HVAC system, one to fix some broken doors that had glass, and getting all of them to submit their paperwork, their bids, their paperwork. They have to show that they're insured, that they're licensed, and it was a big headache. And luckily, that was the first foreclosure I did where we had to do repairs. And the listing agent said to me, forget the bank you're using right now. They don't know what they're doing. I'll extend the contract only if you go with this bank. And we went with a bank that knew a lot about renovation loans. And what we did, we just hired one general contractor who had to submit his paperwork, right? That he was licensed, that he was insured, and that's all we needed. And then he subcontract the different jobs to other people. Now he got like an extra commission, I forgot if it was 5% or 10% over the cost of all the repairs. I think it was 5%. He was being good. I think they could charge up to 10%, but he got it all done. All right, and then we finally closed. So what I'm trying to say is, and I hope I'm saying it clear enough, is that there's a lot involved with purchasing a house that it may not be a foreclosure. It might just be an older house that needs lots and lots of work. Okay, or it could be a foreclosed property, and you can't just go with a regular, FHA VA loan. You have to go for one of these renovation loans. It's a lot of extra steps. All right, and then your credit has to be a little bit stronger for it because you're going higher for it, and these type of loans as considered by the banks a little bit more risky, so it might be at a little bit higher interest rate. Okay, so let's bring this back here. I'm going to go through this fast. I don't want to dwell too much on this because I have just a little video to show. But actually, what else could be wrong with the older house? Now, we brought up some of these issues already. And it seems that people are buying older houses. The number increased. Let's see, the median age of the home purchase in 2000 was 20 years. The number increased to 24 in 2010 and 33 in 2020. And in 2021, through the third quarter, the median age of a home sold was 36 years. So they're getting older and older. Now, if the owners renovated, then it's not a problem. But if they didn't, okay, then there could be some issues that the home inspector will find and says these had to be repaired. And it may have to be repaired for the appraiser to accept it for a VA or FHA or Fannie Mae loan. Okay? So what could be wrong? Again, it could be the HVAC system. It could be the roof. A lot of these, the HVAC system, if you go with the architecture roof, they have a lifespan of about 30 years. Maybe the HVAC system less. So it may be in a situation where, again, uh, the appraiser might say, well, as long as the HVAC system is shooting out heat, your house doesn't have to be air conditioning, but it has to have heat. So the HVAC system might be working great for heat, but it's not working good for air conditioning. All right, and then as they get older, if the old wooden windows, that most likely should be replaced. It doesn't really matter with the appraiser, but if they're cracked, if there's any type of issues where it affects the owners of the house, it would have to be fixed. All right. Then there is also situations with foundations. I had a listing on a house that was over 100 years old, and the floor slanted uh, towards the front of the house. I mean, basically, if you were on a skateboard, you would just move downward. Now, they had put jacks in there, um, but one of the home inspectors said it has to be better reinforced, and so this is like an issue. Okay, now you could deal with it, and the home appraiser might say, "Okay, it's fine. I know it's over 100 years old." If they might say, "No, it's kind of dangerous. It needs to be jacked up more. It needs to be reinforced. The joists need to be reinforced." It could be a whole bunch of things. And then we talk about pipes. Okay. The other big thing too, and this is plumbing pipes. The other big thing too is, let's see, let's get rid of this. Sometimes I come across a house that it has the old fuse boxes, and we can't even get uh, home insurance on those. They have to be replaced. Okay, and the appraiser might say, I'm not 100% sure on this, but the appraiser might say also that it has to be upgraded before you buy it. Okay, fuses, they burn out, they explode, they're very dangerous. So this is something else. So let me just show you, like I kind of summed it up in one of my Doodly videos here. Let's get that up here. All right. So just to review, I was a high school teacher for 21 years. So we always have to have a summary. So, okay. So purchasing an older home, roof, and this is going to go again in conjunction with a home inspection, what they look for. Okay. But with older home, unless it's been renovated, again, when you're looking at properties and you see the year built, don't think if it's built in 1953, oh, that's the same house it was back, over 60 years ago. No. All right. It's very possible that people went in there and they renovated. So don't let that be a turnoff. You have to really look at the photos of the house and see if it's been updated. But if it hasn't, then you will have these issues. Roof needs replacements. Oh, I should say you may have these issues, possible issues. Cracks in the foundation, slanted floors, the HVAC, the heating system, and the heating, ventilation, air conditioning system at the end of the life cycle, not upgraded. There might be electrical issues. It still has a fuse box. That's a big problem. Plumbing might be bad. The article, by the way, the article is on my blog. I put it there this week. It's actually from the Wall Street Journal. You could begin reading a portion of it, and then if you click on the link, it will bring you to the actual Wall Street Journal article. It was really good. I posted it on my real estate group, home buyers and sellers, and a lot of people liked it. Appliances might be old, okay? May have to go in and get some new appliances. And again, I put in here meeting new code regulations because a lot of times I have an issue with, actually, it's with handrails. If the steps outside are a certain height, or I think if it goes to a third step, uh, a handrail is definitely needed. Years ago, they didn't have to put that in. That would have to be put in. But I've already also had that issue like within the house, like if it, uh, not that many houses I sold have basements. Um, the ones mostly that I sold that had basements were in Norfolk, but there were a couple actually in Hampton that had basements. But if they didn't have the proper handrails going down, then that would have to be put in. Okay, that's actually something. If that's the only thing wrong with the house, handrails, the seller will do that, and you could still purchase it with the, VA, FHA, Fannie Mae loan. Um, and what happens is that if the appraiser, when they go out and they write that up, that it needs handrails, they just go out there. Once it's done, they'll go out there for a second look and make sure it's done, and then they'll say, okay, we could close on the loan. Okay. So, and let me just throw out my second one here. So again, on foreclosures, because a lot of people think, oh yeah, I got a foreclosure, I'll just fix it up. I'll get some people. Um, unless you have the cash, then it's not a problem. And then you can take however long you want if you want to get your whole family in there to help fix it up. But if you have to use financing, it's going to be different. It's going to be a lot more involved. So foreclosures may or may not have these issues. If an owner did not take care of the property and have some of the above issues, the home may not be able to be purchased with a VA, FHA, or Fannie Mae mortgage. A renovation loan would be needed unless you have the cash. This loan may be at a higher rate and more difficult to receive. Okay? So again, I tied in the importance of the home inspection, what they look at, and this extra article about purchasing an older home, which may have the issues that a home inspector may find and write it up. Okay? And if you have any questions on, whether if you're looking at the property and what's involved, then call me, contact me. I'm here for you. Let me get my caption up on my real estate site. Wherever you're seeing this this live stream podcast, you could send me a reply there. But there is my website. You could register there. Leave your email address. It's optional to leave your phone number. But if you leave your phone number, I'm not one of these agents that bombard you with so many calls, okay? If you're not ready to buy, if you're still looking, I'll give you time, okay? And I'll just send you out information. I'm not going to call you every other day if you're not ready, okay? No one wants that to be bothered that way, okay? I want you when you're ready, when you're gung ho, okay? So this is my information. You contact me. I also have a couple of home inspectors that I really, really like. And if you need a home inspection, I could put you together with them. But let's do some business together, okay? All right. So let me get rid of this here. See, it's not really easy. There's a lot involved with doing these live stream podcasts, by the way. If you get into this, it's there's a lot of things you have to do, okay? And then I like to make it entertaining. So I hear that my producer William says we have a a special guest in the audience?
Chris, great news. We have a celebrity in the audience. He created and voiced puppet characters like Grandfather Clock, Dancing Bear, Mr. Bunny Rabbit, and Mr. Moose on the children's television show Captain Kangaroo. Ladies and gentlemen, Cosmo Allegretti is the Dancing Bear.
Well, I haven't seen him since watching Captain Kangaroo, weekday mornings when I was a little kid. It was nice seeing him again. Okay, so that's today's show. If you're ready to buy or sell, contact me. Would love to work with you. And if you haven't been vaccinated, I really wish you would, so we could beat this thing. And if you haven't been vaccinated, please wear your mask. Keep your distance. Be nice to each other. Okay, that's very important. And remember, the greatest power we have is to love, and the greatest gift, each other. And I'll see you next week.